YouTube. You didn't miss that much. Well, maybe a good open, but I can't play it a third time, so you have to go back. Just say send something in. Here it is. Just send something in that remotely sounds like a good morning. So good morning. I don't hear any yelling, and that's a problem because I was gonna do all the yelling myself. And then I asked Jacqueline to take over the yell. Like, why do I have to be the one that yells all the time? I sent one. My daughters were killing ourselves laughing, doing it good. I can't wait to see it live. Please involve your family members. Like, there's nothing weirder than your mom being a fan of a drunk lady on the internet and then getting you and her whole family to make a video to be on said show. Yeah. Well, because it's fruit, so healthy, so it cancels out the cookie. You know what? I love the algorithm that you've created, Jen. I love it. Good morning, Maggie, on the YouTube. Who needs to be yelled at? Everybody. When did you realize you were funny? At what age? Said Janice. I don't know. I don't even know that I'm funny. I feel like it's more angry, specifically today. Can everybody just hold the ears for a second? Because I have to commence yelling or nothing will get done today. So please cover your ears, put your children away. Hello, Dean and Brooke and Jacqueline. Everybody needs to get up right now. No one leaves today unless my house is clean. Nobody. That's when you threaten your children. That's not even my best yelling. It's because you guys are here and I know you're watching. So I'm trying to be a little nicer about it. But normally I'd be pacing. Yeah. Jacqueline's supposed to move out today. And here's where I am. I will lock the doors. I will get pieces of wood like they do down south when a hurricane comes. I will cover the windows. Nobody is leaving this today until my house is clean. You're not allowed to trash it and then leave. Good morning. I got my washer delivered twice. Wrong one twice. I have 8 loads to do. Laundromat all night. Tired. I love them and it's like they're toddlers again. Girl, today it was too nice. I know, Kezia, because I know you guys are here. It's uncomfortable. I'm just going to step away for a second, talk to each other, and then you'll hear the real thing. A little bit. I still know you can hear me. Hey, Michael, Brooke Lizard, everybody needs to get up. No one leaves today until my bathroom's clean. There's no trash can in the trash thing. There's shit crap on the floor, and the kitchen's atrocious. And Brooke Lizard, you promised you were gonna clean it. The living room is atrocious. Nobody leaves. Nobody. Where's Jacqueline? Nobody. Did you guys hear that? I wasn't sure. I am still sad. I did start to say a curse word and then I said, no, I don't want you guys to see that. Jacqueline already left. No, she's right there. And she thinks she's leaving a dirty house. I feel like we shouldn't be listening. Oh, you should, Michelle. In fact, not only should you be listening. Yeah. Did you hear that part, Shakendra? Because I forgot you guys were listening. And yeah. Yeah. See, normally there'd be a lot more cursing. And I didn't want you guys to see that side. Yeah. And still there's only one up here. Hammer some wood on the doors. No one leaves, Pearl. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're climbing out the windows now. Oh, steak, Diana. If cursing makes you like me more, girl, come over as soon as this show's over. Because it'll be 10:30. And that's what time? No, it'll be 9:30. Mm-hmm. And that's what time the truck shows up. Mm-hmm. Did anybody see the mom that sent a life-size picture of herself to her son's dorm? Oh, I should do that. Mm-hmm. It's not even 9 a.m. Let them sleep 15 more. Christina, you want to see my dirty house? Let them sleep 15 more minutes. I think you don't understand how disgusting they are.
Just kicked me.
Can you please get them up? But like in an angry voice. And Brooke is going to clean this. And Dean is going to clean the bathroom. Like really clean it. And Brooke's going to empty out the cabinet. And this, and I don't even know what that box is. I just, was so just so I smiled and told her to have a one. I hung up and shouted up, but she was so depressed. Yeah, my kitchen is also a mess. Can you have them go to Margate to clean it? Listen, I'm gonna. Oh my gosh, you guys! I have such a crazy story to tell you. You're gonna be so proud of me. Oh, I'm so bilingual. You have no idea. You have no idea how bilingual I was yesterday. I'm gonna tell you. Yesterday, I'm exhausted, by the way. I'm exhausted. We have a great guest joining us today at 9. For anybody that got a problem sleeping, which I'm pretty sure is everybody, either you sleep too much, you don't sleep enough, you sleep and you wake up, then you sleep and you wake up. I don't know anybody that I've ever met in my whole life that came to work and was like, you guys, I have the exact amount of sleep that I needed last night. I think I would punch them in the face. I'd be like, oh, you had a perfect amount of sleep. Not only was it a perfect amount of sleep, it was on the perfect mattress with the perfect pillow. And yeah, I feel amazing and I can conquer the world. Belinda, let me tell you my bilingual story. Okay. Yesterday, I got to go flip the house. I have renters leaving, coming in today. I'm by myself. I'm driving down. I get there. Now, on the way down, the mom that was running said, I left a couple days ago. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? So I think that she's left a couple days ago. I could have come down. I don't know what's happening. And I could have cleaned my house early. When I pull up, I can see the cleaners already in there. So me and the cleaners together. So they clean it, but I got to do 17 loads of laundry and make all the beds and refill all the soaps. Fine. But the cleaners don't have a key. So I think the renters have left, but when I pull up, the renters are and the cleaners are in the house. So I'm confused as to how they got in. And I was like, did the renters leave the door unlocked? Because that's not okay. I'm just confused. So I go inside. There's about 3 girls, right? All Spanish speaking. And normally there's somebody there whose English is a little better than other people's. So I go in, I got questions. Like, how'd you guys get in if the door was locked? I go in and they're all pointing at each other. And I was like, well, this isn't good. And I was like, who gonna try? So I go over and I said, was the door open when you got here? And then she was like, you can see her looking around. I was like, oh, wait. La puerta. Duolingo. La puerta es abierto. I'm sure all of my last letters are wrong, okay? But I'm just open. Door. Abierto. And she says, sí. And I thought, well, maybe make sure I said this right. So I asked her the other way. I said, no cerrado. And she goes, no cerrado, abierto, and which means not closed, open. And I said, okay. So now I'm like, but was it locked? I don't know the word. So I was like, Pierto locked? That means that's not helpful. You got to know the word. I go, I don't know the word. So she says something. I go, poco español. Is it seguro? Seguro is locked? No. I'm going to forget that. So I said, so she says something and she goes, hold on. And she Google translates and she says, a man let us in. I was like, hombre? She's like, hombre. I was like, que hombre? Es aquí? She goes, hombre. Yeah, a man. So I'm like, because Jeff was going to meet me down there to do like work for shirts and stuff. I'm like, well, Jeff's not here. So I ask her something else and she says, mi jefe. And I go, okay, her boss. Like, she was like, you want to call my boss? And I was like, no. Yeah, through the honey door. I don't know how you say honey. So it just, and then I go to the Ring doorbell. So the mom had left a couple days ago. Maybe they had a fight. I don't know. But the dad and the son were still at the house. Belinda, it was emergency Spanish. And I was prepared with door, open, closed, and boss. Man. Almost fluent, Gabby. Almost fluent. Mm-hmm.
You're really good at playing. You just gotta get like your accent.
Oh.
You're really good at like.
I have a solid Italian accent on my Spanish.
You have a solid Jersey Italian.
It was immersion-y. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
You know, like Italian.
I didn't know seguro.
Like
mm-hmm. It's called emergency Spanish. Mm-hmm. Oh, then I said, so we're sitting there a little later. And I said, soy es estudiante de español. And she says, sí. And I said, no muy bien. No bien. And she's like, poco. I said, poco. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's September.
She was not impressed with your Spanish. Rude. Mm-hmm. Another 786 words, and I'll be amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that I'm going to be able to like converse with people. And even when I listen to Duolingo, like there's a lot of listening exercises, which I think is really hard. I can read it, but yeah. Hearing it is hard. So I can only get a certain, it just so fast. So I only pick up certain words and then I just have to contextually kind of start to figure it out. I'm like, all right, your grandma's here. And you. No, I'm saying when I listen to Spanish, I have to listen to certain words. But you know, I get them. I'll be like, your grandma's here. She wants to eat a horse. And you want a glass of vino. Tinto. That I hear. Mm-hmm. I should, you know what? Dora the Explorer is probably going to take on a whole new meaning for me. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I will watch Dora and Swiper until I'm fluent. I did really well under pressure. I think that you have to just, if you're talking to me, it's just like, I'm not going to form complete sentences. All the conjugation will be wrong, but you'll understand. Pointing to La Puerta is cerrado, abierto, but I keep getting abierto and abrigo confused. So I'm like, is your coat open?
I'm gonna go PetSmart.
So what?
I'm gonna go PetSmart real quick.
You feel like the day you're moving this early in the morning, you should go to PetSmart. Not clean my bathroom.
I gotta go PetSmart.
Jacqueline, you have the face on like, I just got my period and I need to get pads, but you're talking about PetSmart as if it's the same eyes. It's different eyes. When you look at somebody, you go, I have to go to CVS.
No.
Then I would know you have your period. You got.
All right, I gotta go.
But no one has ever used those same eyes for PetSmart. I have to go to PetSmart.
I gotta go.
Why? Those you can't use those eyes.
Okay.
Those are period eyes. Those aren't pet eyes. Those are different eyes. So stop using intense eyes talking about PetSmart.
I gotta go to PetSmart.
No, stop using those eyes. There's no emergency that you have to go to PetSmart right now.
I gotta go.
Jacqueline, I need you to clean the house first. Please get your brother up. I need to see all the children cleaning. Does the bunny have her period?
I gotta go to PetSmart.
Okay, stop using those eyes. You speak Spanish
So
very
pretty.
Paquito. I don't know. I speak better Spanish than I do.
Very not good.
No, Paquito. What's Paquito? Wash the house now,
Who
said
said that?
Tanya. Look, clean la casa aorta. She's yelling at you.
That was good.
Paquito
Oh,
is a little. I know
sorry.
Paquito, pequeño. Please clean something.
I'll do the dishes.
Clean the kitchen.
You want me like clean? I'll deep clean and then
I don't know, Dina. She really does look like she's got to go to bed.
I gotta go.
That's Shakendra talking. Mm-hmm.
Shakendra!
Can I use those same eyes for I got to get my blood drawn? Probably. Pequeño is small. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Pequeño is small. So what's Paquito? You can't have a same word.
What's this?
It sounds like mojito. Is it a tiny mojito? Please give me a poquito. And they're like, what's a poquito? Tiny mojito. Can I have a tiny mojito? Is that a word? Is poquito a word? Please don't make up Spanish words because I know pequeño is a little bit. Poquito is a little bit. So, pequeño is small. Poquito is a little, God forbid. So poquito is not a tiny mojito. I'm going to start my own kind of Spanish where I just take Spanish words and turn them to new meanings, mostly alcohol related. Mm-hmm. It bothers me you have to keep repeating yourself for them to clean the house. Really, Nicole? Isn't that every mother's reality? Don't we all? Is there a child on the planet that when you say clean the house, like, let me get to this right now? Have you ever met a kid like it? Because I haven't. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where's all your stuff?
Yeah. So I don't know any other way. I would like a poquito mojito. They'll be like, lady, what's wrong with you? Like, we don't always have to rhyme our Spanish. Oh, I do. Poquito mojito. That means a little bit of mojito. Are you eating my gluten-free cookies?
No, I'm putting them away.
Why were they out? Is the question. All I do is repeat myself. Mm-hmm. That's a mojito in a shot glass. Mm-hmm.
Some drink mojito.
Annette, have a good weekend. Start learning curse words. Done. Mm-hmm. Rhyming Spanish would be so much easier. Girl, you're not wrong. Anyway. Carly keeps her own house spotless, and it infuriates me. I screamed at her for years. I'll be so mad if their houses are nice when they grow up. I will poop all over it. I'm just letting you know.
I'm letting you know it won't be. It won't be.
It would be mojito poquito. Because the adjectives are bad. You're not wrong, Deborah. Look, Deborah's the only one like truly thinking this through. And she was like, nobody ever asked for a mojito poquito. I can't. I'm telling you. Too much. I think you also need to learn how to throw a sandal. Who doesn't think that that's an integral part of motherhood?
Lou,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing?
Brooke,
Yeah.
you go wake up Dean.
Brooke, can you get up off the floor and touch something that's
I
dirty?
just did all the dishes.
No, you didn't, because she's over there. And I still see a whole bunch of stuff on the island. It has to be wiped.
Lou, attack.
Mm-hmm.
Get it.
Not a sandal, a
Get
chancla.
it.
That's not even close. Mm-hmm.
Oh, who are you?
I need Spanish phrases for my foster bulldog. I think she speaks Spanish. Her name is Rosita.
Oh,
I don't even know. Yeah, I have to tell you, the first time I realized that dogs speak Spanish blew my mind. I go, I just want to be clear.
I'm gonna put all this mail.
I don't understand. I
Why are there
barely
so many
understand
sweat
English.
speaks?
You're telling me that that dog is bilingual. I can't.
Put mail here.
I can't. No, mail goes in the basket by the door with that. It's already filled with mail. I feel like you could just look around and you could figure out where things belong.
You want me to put this with
Mhm.
you?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to the beach house. I went yesterday to clean the beach house for other people to enjoy my beach house. I get maybe 2 weeks a year, and then the rest of the time it's rented, and it's a lot. Mm-hmm. My cats are bilingual, Alejandra. Of course they are. I feel so dumb when people tell me that their pets know Spanish, and then I'm like, you know what? You didn't have to say that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
I don't want to open it. Mom, who's using my fancy pens?
You seem to, that's your problem with this house?
Yeah, I bought these.
Not the whole, somebody using her
I only
fancy
have
pens.
two.
Put that.
My dog only knows sign language because he's deaf. Oh my gosh, Gabby, you just took my dumbness to such a level. So now you're telling me that dogs understand sign language?
No, dogs do.
Wonderful.
Dogs can learn anything.
You need to embrace your Asian Filipino roots and sling a shoe like a ninja. You're like, oh.
Okay, Mom, do you like
Mhm.
the plates I got for $2 at the thrift store for my apartment?
You did what?
I got these plates for $2 at the thrift store.
I love it.
They're dishwasher safe, even though I don't have a dishwasher.
Whoa, you are the dishwasher. Gabby, please make a morning show video with your
I'm gonna steal
dogs
some from here.
doing sign language. I would love it. Mm-hmm. That would be great. All right. So listen, everybody. You've seen my face this week. I struggle with sleeping. I imagine most people do. As I mentioned, I've never met one person that's ever shown up for work and been like, I got the perfect amount of sleep, because it doesn't exist. And I feel like, I know that there's an insomnia chapter of One Funny Mother, which I think is hilarious. So today we have a guest on I think you're going to love, talking about all things sleep. So you could sleep through the weekend and cuddle up and all your kids will be gone and maybe your house will be clean. That might be really specific to me. I actually think you'll sleep better when your kids are gone. I'm sure this is not part of the advice he's going to give. This is just Dina advice. Get rid of your children and you will sleep so much better. He is a neurologist, a sleep expert, and an author. So I'm pretty sure he's not going to say anything horrible about your children. But if he did, I would be on board. He has practiced sleep medicine and neurology for 20 years, involved with sleep medicine for 30 years. He is the author of The Sleep Solution, Why Your Sleep is Broken and How to Fix It, and The Rested Child, Why Your Tired, Wired, and Irritable Child May Have a Sleep Disorder and How to Help. He works with lots of different organizations, with the NBA, the NHL, the MLB, served as a consultant for a number of teams, including our own Phillies here. He is the host of a podcast called Sleep Unplugged by Dr. Chris Winter, and he also hosts a sleep.com series called Sleeping Around with Dr. Chris Winter. What? I want to have a show called Sleeping Around. Very different show. Very different. He's a board certified in sleep medicine by the American Board of Sleep Medicine. Is also board certified in neurology by the American Board of Psychology and Neurology. And sometimes in his off hours, when he's not sleeping, he might be a triathlete. So listen, We're all losers. And let's welcome to the show our guest today, Dr. Chris Winter. Hey, Chris. Yeah, sit down, everybody. Thank you for the clapping.
Well, thanks for having me, Dina. How are you today? You slept well?
I did. Last night I slept well because I was thoroughly exhausted. But the other night, Chris, I stare at the ceiling and I wonder what's wrong with my life. Is everybody else doing that?
A lot of people do that. You know, it's interesting. You said that you think that kids might be the problem. I've found that when the kids leave and when you retire, that's when sleep gets really bad because, you know, no matter what happens with your sleep tonight, you still got to get up, get them on the bus, pack their lunches and do all that stuff. So there is a certain level of consistency that they require that when they walk out the door, there's not a lot stopping you from sleeping until noon. And that could be a problem too, I guess.
It's not though, Chris. What about the addition of bourbon? You're like, Dina, that's a different show.
No, you know, alcohol is the most common sleep aid in this country, even though it's terrible for your sleep. It's I always tell patients there's a difference between sleep and sedation.
Is there? Because I enjoy both, Chris. I'm going to be honest. I enjoy both. So what does this say? This says back-to-back winner, the U.S. Open Sleep Tournament. What does that mean?
It said put something there optional, and I thought that would be fun. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
I don't know, Chris, because I have a feeling pretty much 530 people would have signed up for the U.S. Open Sleep Tournament, and it would have been.
There was a group in Australia that was trying to create the National Sleep Championship, where everybody would wear a Fitbit or some sort of sleep tracker, and it was like a big tournament. So you and I would be against each other in round one. And then the next day we would look at our data from our watches, and whoever had the best data moved on to the next round. So I thought that was pretty. So there is something similar to that, but this is not real.
Okay. And we're going to start it here, Chris. I love this show already. So you were a neurologist first and then became a sleep expert. Like how did this how does one say, you know what I'm into? Sleeping. How does this happen? How do you become you?
There's a lot of pathways. So I was actually involved in sleep research as an undergrad, just because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And guy offered me money so I could buy some beer and some biology credit hours. And there was something about breast implants, which got me really excited. Then I realized they were actually using them to put into the necks of these pigs to make them have sleep apnea. So it was all very murky, but I got into it and it was great. And it's a wonderful community. And so then I went to medical school, and then in medical school, you have to kind of decide what you want to do. And so some sleep doctors are neurologists, some are pulmonologists, some can be ENTs, pediatricians. So it's just one pathway to being that. But I think sleep resides in the brain. So I'm a big fan of the neurology sleep doctor. And I'm saying that to all my pulmonary and ENT buddies that are listening. I like to give them a hard time that sleep has as much to do with the lung as it does the spleen.
You just said so many words that normally wouldn't go together that most of my audience is so confused. They're like, did he just say they put breast implants right here?
Yeah, they did. You know, that was back in a time when they were off the market. You know, there was some problems with them leaking or whatever. And so there were abundance of breast implants. And eventually we stopped the breast implants and put these little balloons so you could inflate the balloon, and one night the little pig would have sleep apnea, and you could deflate it and the next night they wouldn't. So you could test, you know, what does sleep apnea cause in terms of blood pressure and weight gain and stuff like that.
I think I might be a pig. Now that you're explaining it, I think I might some nights be a pig. Yeah, the poor pigs. What's happening? So you did this research prior, you go to medical school, they make you pick something, you pick, I'm going to move towards sleep, and you become a neurologist. It's amazing.
Yeah, at some point, it was never really the plan, but I'd been involved in sleep for so long by the time I got to medical school that I didn't want to leave the community. So I didn't. And I love it. It was all completely accidental. But I think this is the 30th year I've been involved in sleep, which I think I was involved in sleep before I could legally buy alcohol. So it's been a long time.
Wow. It's so funny. So we have a lot of sayings that we say on this show. And so a lot of the ladies,
sayings.
oh, the sayings are our favorite thing. Most of them are dirty, but the ladies always joke that they have a bingo card that has all the sayings on it. And so somebody just said, does anybody have an abundance of breast implants on their bingo card? That is not something that's been said here often, but it might be added now. So I want to thank you for that. Oh, Melinda said you don't look over 30. So you must have been 12 when you started.
Melinda, let me send you a copy of my book because you're my favorite person ever.
Oh.
I'm way over 30.
Now you have.
Way on the other side of 30.
I have to say, before we get into the interview, our people that watch this show are obsessed with what's behind the people who are on the show. So I say, Sleep Unplugged is the picture behind you. That's your podcast, right? And then you have
my daughter, who's a studio art major, designed it. And I'm a big David Bowie fan. And so she put the little lightning bolt right there to kind of as a little homage to Aladdin saying David Bowie. So that's the little inside joke there.
And then what's the picture on the other side?
So this is what is often referred to as the Sleeping Girl. It's a Liechtenstein print. The original was color. But I found a copy of it that was black and white. And I think when it sold at auction, it was the most expensive art piece or something. It was some story that went along with it. At the time when it was auctioned off, it went for the highest amount. But I'm a big Roy Lichtenstein fan, and I thought Sleeping Girl was kind of cool.
Look at you. You're so interesting, Chris. All of your, and you're a triathlete as well. We could talk forever.
No,
all right. So
not really.
Really? So what is that? Is it swimming, running, and archery? I don't even know what the third thing is. I don't know.
It's swimming, biking, then running. And yeah, I like to do those from time to time. They're fun.
Isn't there one in the Olympics where they ski and then there's archery?
Yeah, so in the Winter Olympics, I think it's biathlon. It's skiing and shooting a rifle. So they keep the rifle on their back and they cross-country ski, and then they have to calm themselves, after doing all the skiing. And then in the Summer Olympics, there's the modern pentathlon. It's like rowing, horseback riding, maybe shooting something. It's 5 things. I can't remember what they do there, but anyway, they do it down in Sarasota. They have a big competition at the big rowing place. So there's water is definitely involved in that.
It's so funny because some of the things I just think that they do at the Olympics, I just think if you just got regular people, it would be just as entertaining, maybe more to watch. Like if we just got a whole bunch of these drunk ladies and said, ski down this mountain and then shoot something, it would be the greatest thing to watch ever.
I've always thought that they should put one lay person in every Olympic event.
Exactly. They'll be like,
to clear up that misperception of, well, shit, I could do as well as that. I think I could beat Jamaica in that, and just to see how wrong you are. Like, I one time swam against some of my son's swim team members when he was like a junior in high school, and they didn't use their arms in the race. I got to use any part of my body that would create forward propulsion, and they crushed.
They still beat you?
Well,
with
easily.
no arms. They should just have like an old Italian guy named Al. Like it'll be like, and the U.S. is in first position, followed by Jamaica, followed by England. Al can't get his skis off. Al's like a nut job. It would be the greatest. It'd be the greatest. All right. Well, let's talk about sleep because I feel like we could talk to you about anything. But so we actually have a bunch of different chapters around the country. We have people that have like the Maryland chapter, the New England chapter, where they get together. But one of the funny chapters that they have formed is the insomnia chapter because there's a lot of ladies that are up and some fellas as well. Like, what are the most common sleep issues that people do come to you with for help? Is it insomnia?
Yeah, it's probably, there's sort of 2 camps. One is insomnia, the idea that you're struggling with sleepiness. The other one would be, excessive sleepiness, something on the order of like sleep apnea, where every time you sit down, you fall asleep. So in our clinic, I can't sleep, I can't stay awake are sort of the two major groups. And of the I can't sleep, the insomnia, I can't stay awake, it's usually sleep apnea. So yeah, these are the lion's share of what we see in our sleep clinic for sure, for both adults and kids.
Kids get I think they could sleep does sleep apnea show in kids as much? I feel like it's an adult thing, right?
It's more of an adult thing, but kids can certainly have it. I think the issue with kids is they don't snore as loudly.
Yeah.
They don't typically have bed partners. So nobody's hearing what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think when you have a child, to your point earlier in the show, who all he or she wants to do is sleep, you think you've won the lottery. You know, your kid puts himself to bed every night, or they like to take naps and will sleep for 3 hours so you can get a lot of work done. So I think the manifestation of excessive sleepiness in a child seems almost like a positive. As they get older, that's kind of when it becomes more of a negative. And when you're an adult and falling asleep at stoplights, that's not great at all.
Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. So I feel like, you know, all of us have heard, you know, stay off your phones at night, try not to be on the computer. Like, how true is all that stuff? Because like, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm bilingual, Chris. So at night I do Duolingo and I learn my Spanish words, but it puts me to sleep. But is it true? Like what are some of the things that we're doing that are probably not helping us at nighttime?
So there's sort of two conversations going on when we talk about these things. There is, what are the things that we do that sort of set the stage for great sleep? If you've got a kid who's decided that she wants to run track, you may need to go to the store and buy some running clothes and some good running shoes because her, you know, heels are not going to cut it on the track. So you're doing all these things. These are not necessarily going to make her a great track star, but they're at least setting the foundation for it. Right. And I think that we often sort of mix these two things up, that people who struggle with their sleep think, oh, if I leave my phone in the kitchen, that will solve my 7-year insomnia problem. I don't think that it is at all. I think that you should probably have your phone in the kitchen and not in your bedroom, but people can watch TV right before they go to bed. I watched the thrilling conclusion of Echo 3 last night on Apple TV, turned it off and went right to bed, even though the ending was wildly unsatisfying, just to let you know. A good show. But so I don't think that having a TV or not having a TV or a phone is going to really create it. But you know, but it's sort of like, it'd be a better practice to not do that. But it's not going to solve people's insomnia problem. Those are really two very different things. You know, so you know,
what do you say?
Exercise, eat well, do all these things, but you know, those aren't going to really solve the sleep problem.
So what do you say to people who just can't shut their brains off? Like, I feel like most women in general, maybe I'm generalizing, that, you know, we're tired, our bodies are tired, but as soon as you have the opportunity to lay down, it's like the list of all the things you didn't do, all the things you have to do tomorrow. Like, is that possible to stop that?
I don't think that you really need to. I mean, there's this, so this is a great one. I mean, there's all kinds of great sleep myths, and that's one of them, that people who sleep turn their brains off and the people who don't can't. I got shit going through my head 24 hours a day, yet I sleep great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so this idea that because you're trying to remember when the last time you changed the oil in your car is the thing that's keeping you awake. No. So the only time we turn our brains off is when we're dead. So brains operate 24 hours a day. So you should be able to sleep and still wonder, gosh, you know, when will I have time to do X, Y, and Z this weekend, because it's getting fuller and fuller with my schedule. So this idea that if you have thoughts in your head, that's going to keep you from falling asleep. No. When you're sleepy, I mean, sleep's an absolute. It's impossible not to sleep. So that's the most important thing to be said, is that when you talk to people about insomnia, ask somebody, what's insomnia? 99 out of 100 people say insomnia is when a person can't sleep. No, there's no such thing as that. Insomnia is when you can't sleep when you've decided you want to. That's part A. part B is you're upset about it. So you wanted the secret to great sleep is you're equally happy in bed awake as you are asleep. So if you go to bed at night, you fall asleep right away, great. If you don't, who cares? Like, you're going to sleep. It's like saying, it's like what do you do when you don't eat lunch? You go to lunch with your friends, they all eat food, they all order food, and you're like, oh, I'm just not that hungry. I'm just gonna have a Diet Coke. And then what? Call your doctor because you're on the verge of starving to death? You need a pill to make sure you eat the sandwich? No. You have faith that this is kind of strange because I love to eat lunch, but today I'm not. So you drink your Diet Coke, but you move on in life and you'll eat eventually.
But Chris, if you do that for a week, say you only sleep for an hour for every day for a week.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't, this idea that if you look at people, listen, two things. Number one, if you're human, you're going to spend 6 hours out of every 24 you're on this planet on average sleeping, and there's nothing you can do to stop that. Number two, the perception of so you're talking about different sayings. We've got lots of sayings in our clinic. In fact, in my last book, we put a bunch of them at the end of it. Can't fall asleep hanging sheetrock. That's one of our favorite things, meaning a lot of sleepy people stay busy. If they're busy, they don't fall asleep. If they sit down to do something, read a Vanity Fair article about Jennifer Lawrence's acting career, they fall asleep. So a lot of sleepy people gravitate towards being busy because they know if they sit still, they'll fall asleep. But another saying, we always talk about in terms of sleep is perception of sleep and reality are two different things. So every week I will see a patient who says, I'm lucky if I get an hour of sleep a night. Okay. And it's been that way for 6 years. Not physiologically possible. So buy a Fitbit, put it on your wrist, and in 30 days, come back and see me and bring the data. It's going to show that you're sleeping 6 hours minimum every 24 hours.
Okay, but what about the part where they say, well, I'm sleeping for 6, but I'm not in a deep sleep? Like, that blew my mind.
That's a good point.
Like, so you're not really sleeping. Your eyes are closed, but you're not really sleeping.
Well, you are really sleeping, but you may not be sleeping well. So just that conversation detour from I can't sleep, and that's why I take the melatonin, the trazodone, the Ambien, the whatever you're taking, to I don't sleep well is huge. That's really important. So I'm not telling people that everybody sleeps well. I'm just saying if you're under the impression you're taking that medication or drinking that Merlot every night because without it you won't sleep, nothing could be further from the truth.
You're blowing my mind right now, and I think you've angered a lot of ladies, and you've also piqued.
Not here to anger, here to tell the truth.
I was going to say, I feel like I want
7 different sleeping pills. They don't work really well, do they? Right, because you're not dealing with the right problem. This is how we killed Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson went to his doctors and said, I can't sleep. And so what did they do? They gave him pills. When he came back and said, these pills don't work, they gave him more pills. When those pills didn't work, they sent a surgeon to his house with propofol, which is the drug you get for a colonoscopy, and they anesthetized him every night and eventually killed him. All because they fundamentally misunderstood what Michael Jackson was saying when he said he didn't sleep. Michael Jackson slept. He just didn't feel like he slept. There were things going on with his sleep. It had nothing to do with his inability to sleep because that's not compatible with life. That's me telling you, I haven't eaten in 6 months and I haven't breathed either. And you're looking at me and saying, well, Chris, you look like you're eating and you're breathing. Well, I'm not. And I don't care what you say because I don't breathe. In fact, I don't eat either. I just stand out in front of the sun and photosynthesize my own food. Like, you're like, no. That's not scientifically possible. And that's what sleep is. So we talk about these simple tips and tricks of how to sleep. And well, we all sleep. If you're watching this podcast, you're sleeping.
There's no tricks. You're saying there's no tricks.
There's tricks, but it's really more about an acceptance. So you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go to the bathroom, get back in bed, and don't fall back to sleep right away. How do you feel about that? I can tell you how I feel about it. I don't care. I like being that awake. I can sit there and think about my next vacation. My wife started a new job today. I can think about what to do to surprise her when she gets home from work. I can think about the ending of Echo 3 and how I would have changed it had I been the producer. I can think about my dream home, my celebrity crush. I got all kinds of things to think about. There's my running mind. And I enjoy it. I like being in bed awake. It's the only time of my life that's quiet. Nobody needs something from me. So I embrace it. I run towards it. If you can do that, you'll never have insomnia because insomnia runs on fear. You're scared you're going to wake up pee and not be able to get back to sleep.
Oh, something happened to your feed. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, that's better now. All right. So what about people who might walk in their sleep?
You could push the applause button for that. That was a good answer.
Oh, Michelle.
I'm
She
kidding,
didn't
I'm
hit
kidding.
it. So what about people who like sleepwalk or are very active? Are there people that are more active while sleeping than others?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sleepwalking, somnambulism, which is such a great word. And then sleep talking, somniloquy. So sleep talking is generally considered to some degree a normal variant. So if you're a sleep talker every now and then, no big deal. If you do it every night and scream obscenities and things like that, that might be pushing more towards something that might need to be looked at. Sleepwalking is usually something we do out of deep sleep. So if you divide your night in half, the first night is largely deep sleep. The second half is largely REM sleep. So if you have kids, a nightmare is usually an awakening out of REM sleep in the second half of the night, or dream sleep. A night terror, when you put your kid down and sit down to watch a little bit of The Voice, and 30 minutes later they're screaming, right as soon as you put them to bed, that's an awakening out of deep sleep. So sleepwalking is usually an abnormal awakening out of deep sleep, and can be a real problem if people get up and go places or lock themselves out of hotel rooms when they're naked. And then so we consider that under the umbrella term of parasomnia, sleep-related eating. You get up and eat weird things and go back to bed and don't remember it the next day. Sleep-related sexual activity is kind of a thing, where people engage in sexual activity and then they don't remember it the next day, which can be very murky in a strange way. With couples where one's antagonizing the other about sex at night, and then the next morning like, I don't remember saying or doing any of those things. I was just an expert witness in a case where a guy was with his child in a hospital, and he woke up, he's in bed with his child who's having surgery or something, woke up, took his clothes off, went around the curtain, and got into bed with the mother of somebody else in this. The hospital room had two different people in it, which is the worst idea in the world. But anyway, separated by a curtain. So he just got in bed with her, and she screamed, and the police came, and you can see in the video, the guy's like, I have no idea what anybody's talking about, but I'm sure what you're saying is true. I just can't answer any questions. I have no memory of that. In fact, I have no idea why I'm naked. So
You're
yeah.
blowing my mind right now. I feel like I could sit at a bar and listen to you all night. All night.
Talk to my wife. She'll cure you of that. It's interesting for a week, I think, and then it kind of.
No, it's so crazy that you're talking about that people like there's just not any, to my knowledge, I don't think I'm walking around my neighborhood naked. I mean, that just sounds so crazy to like wake up and not know that these things have happened. But I think that of all the things that you said, probably talking in your sleep is probably the most common, right?
It is, absolutely. And it can be an indicator of something going on. Like my youngest son snored a lot, and we get a lot of strep infection. So he eventually had his tonsils out. As soon as his tonsils were out, stopped snoring, and he also stopped talking. Like that was kind of the joke in the family, is that you'd be sitting downstairs and all of a sudden kind of an intense conversation was going on from his bedroom, but he was asleep, and it was almost like he was speaking in tongues. Like when you listen to it, every third or fourth word made sense, but the other three were just complete gibberish. So we kind of missed that when the tonsils left and the sleep talking ended, but I'm sure his future partner won't.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. So do you have any bits of advice for people who might be struggling? I feel like what you said today about the part about insomnia itself not being a problem, but really how we react to it.
Sure.
Like what are things, like how would somebody know if what they're experiencing is just a lack of sleep and they can like lean into it and, like you said, just accept it and relax and maybe it's a little better versus somebody who might have a real problem? Like how would somebody know?
Well, first of all, insomnia is a real problem. It's a bad problem. It's just maybe not the problem you think it is. So I'm not saying Michael Jackson didn't have a problem. He had a serious problem, but his problem wasn't, we need to find the right drug so that he can sleep. So that, in fact, in one of the very first episodes of the podcast I did, it was about insomnia really being sort of almost a form of trauma or PTSD. I mean, individuals who've had insomnia for a long time really grow to dread or fear sleep. And that's when its teeth are really in you. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a serious problem. We just don't deal with it properly. You go to your primary care doctor, he's like, oh, that pill didn't work. Let's try some other pills. And that's really not the solution for insomnia. The other thing to keep in mind too is that insomnia and sleep deprivation are really two different things. So here's a quick exercise. There's something called an Epworth sleepiness scale. So I'll give you a situation you might find yourself in, and your listeners can do the same thing. So I'll give you the situation. I want you to imagine yourself in that situation. You're going to tell me how likely it would be for you to fall asleep. And your answer can be no chance you'd fall asleep, slight chance, 50-50 definite. So the first situation, lying down to rest in the afternoon when circumstances allow you to. No chance you'd fall asleep, slight chance, 50-50 definite.
Definite.
Talking to someone. How likely it would be for you to fall asleep talking to somebody? No chance, slight chance, 50-50 definite.
No, there's no way I'm going to fall asleep.
Reading a book, magazine, or newspaper.
Does the internet count? I read
Sure,
mostly.
but not late at night. Like during business hours kind of thing.
Oh, no, not really.
Watching television or a movie.
Yeah, a little 50-50 if it's late at night. If it's late at night.
Sitting quietly at a meeting, lecture, religious service.
Do you mean like actually fall asleep or like get a little tired?
Yeah, no, actually nodding off.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Sitting quietly after a big lunch.
By myself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might. 50-50.
Okay.
I love lunch.
Okay.
Love lunch.
Passenger in a car for 1 hour without a break.
No.
Driver of a car parked at a stoplight or stuck in traffic. Okay.
No.
So that's called an Epworth sleepiness scale. You scored a 6, which I think is a perfect score. I think 4 to 6 is perfect. So the way you score it, no chance is 0, slight chance is 1, 50-50, 2, definite is 3. So you can score anywhere from a 0 to a 24. I've never seen a 24 because it means you definitely fall asleep when you're driving a car, which is not really compatible with life. So we consider scores of 10 or below to be normal.
Okay.
I would say 9 or below normal. 10 or above is what we call excessively sleepy. And so if you scored a 17 on that, I know right away it's either because you're not getting enough sleep, you stay up till midnight and get to work, you go to work at 4, right, or there is something dysfunctional about your sleep. So you ask, what's the best way to figure out, do I need intervention? I think anybody who has trouble with sleep can always go see a sleep physician or a clinician provider. They're never going to say no. I mean, in fact, I always think to people, why did you come now and not 5 years ago when this was just getting started? But I think that for people who score high on that, that's usually a really big red flag. When you're saying, I had a guy who'd roll his hair up into the window of his truck. So as he drove down the road, if he fell asleep, it would pull his hair and wake him up. Like if you're doing things like that to keep yourself awake, you should really talk to somebody.
Wow. All right. So say there's people listening, where can they go for resources if they are listening and they're like, hey, I think I might want to get checked. Like can we send them? Yeah.
So my podcast is Sleep Unplugged. So we do an episode every week. We just celebrated our year anniversary about a month or 2 ago. And the first episode of every month is always some topic about insomnia. So if you're struggling to fall asleep at night and kind of understand what I'm saying, but kind of think that it's not that, I hear what you're saying, but I can't sleep, you should listen to that. My first book called The Sleep Solution, Why Your Sleep is Broken and How to Fix It, is really kind of a workbook for your sleep, because I think that fixing sleep starts with education about sleep. I think we all think we know a lot about sleep, but it's all the weird stuff that your grandparents told you. If you want to fall asleep quickly, keep a knife and a fork and a spoon under your pillow. A patient told me that. I'm like, that means nothing. So defending yourself with a cocktail line, so anyway, so I think education's where it starts. And if you have kids and you're worried about their sleep, my second book was called The Rested Child, but there's lots of great books. Jade Wu wrote a really nice book about insomnia called Hello Sleep. There's a new book called Sleep to Heal that I really like by a good buddy of mine who's a sleep doctor in Indiana. So my book is a little bit sarcastic and it's got some references to pop culture in it that some people think are hilarious and other people it really irritates the hell out of them. So if I'm not your cup of tea, that's fine. Somebody out there is, and we can figure that out.
Well, that's awesome. Well, if you would like to find Chris, you can find him at Dr. Chris Winter. His website is chriswinter.com. So be sure to check him out. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. You're so fun. I'm sure the podcast is.
You have a great weekend.
Try it out. You too. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Let's hear it for Chris. Thanks so much, Chris. So that was so interesting. I feel like so many of us, struggle with it. It was really interesting to hear his take on it because I feel like not getting sleep it's like being hangry. Like he said, like there's certain that you don't get it. You're like, I'm angry because it's not happening. But in reality, it's probably not as awful as we think it is, but it feels awful because it's 3 a.m. and you're by yourself. So if that's something that you'd like to follow up on, you can check out chriswinter.com. And he is at Dr. Chris Winter, so you can find him there. Next week, I'm so excited. Do yourself a favor and check out Hope and Kadira Watson. I found them on Instagram. It's a lovely couple. You can follow them at Everyday with HK. They're so fun. I don't even know the best way to describe them. So check them out. We'll be chatting with them next week, which I'm super excited about. It's called Everyday with HK on Instagram. So I want to thank everybody for joining us this week and try to get the Fitbit. He mentioned that if you're concerned about your sleep, just to kind of monitor things. I know that the Apple Watch also does that as well. So I think the best things we can do in general are just making sure we're eating well, we're sleeping well, we're exercising. So hopefully at least one of those 3 is on your agenda, if not all of them, if you can. But I hope you have a great holiday weekend and enjoy Labor Day. Probably not going to be live on Labor Day, I don't think, because I have to move Brooke into college. It's a little bit crazy. So we should be back on Tuesday and we'll go from there. But I hope you had a great week. And like Judy says, do something nice for yourself this holiday weekend. And thanks for watching as always. So have a great day and a blessed day. And we'll see you guys next week. I'll see you. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's morning show, make sure to follow us for more OneFunnyMother content.
Okay, all right. Morse code is tapping.
And check out OneFunnyMotherStore.com for great new inappropriate swag. And for more exclusive content, consider becoming a supporter.
She got a bad leg.
Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow on